tower, and these were used as lookout towers in real castles, and that's where the name of this house came from. It's called Atalaya, which is a Spanish noun that simply means watchtower or lookout point. Obviously, the Huntingtons didn't have to go up there to look out for invaders, but they used the tower as to hold a water tank that allowed them to have indoor plumbing.
Is this a courtyard?
This is a courtyard. When castles, again, when you had Moorish castles, the families needed to be protected, the families and anyone who lived with them. So the courtyard is much more beautiful on the inside than the outside of the house. The grills in here, the grill work is fancier. The grill work was all done by Anna. Remember, she was a sculptor, and she worked in wrought iron, and this grill work was patterned after Moorish patterns that she had seen, or Moorish styles.
What are these canals that we see here, Elizabeth, beside the walkway?
This is also another typical piece of Moorish architecture. This is kind of used as an opportunistic watering system. This is again seen in Moorish castles, and when it rains, these canals fill up with rainwater, and it would then flow out through little cutouts that you may see over along the edge and water the grass. So it's not part of the plumbing system, but it's kind of an opportunistic watering system.
What have we got over here?
We have some unusual looking mortar. This is called slump joint or weeping mortar. Most people are used to, when a house is made out of bricks, that the mortar is scraped off. This is just a style of brick. It's called weeping mortar because sometimes if the rain hits it and runs down the side, it looks like the walls are running with water. Archer Huntington was particularly impressed with this style, and he really liked it. So he ordered the walls to be built with this. Well, one time a section of wall was being built when Archer was not present, and they scraped all the mortar off. And when he came back, he said, "Oh no, I wanted that up there. I particularly wanted the mortar oozing out." And you can't just go back and slap the mortar on the wall, so they had to rebuild that whole section. And so they call this here the Huntington Squeeze. But remember, this house was being built during the Great Depression, so even if you had to tear down the walls and rebuild it, the workers were very happy to have a well-paying job.
Where are we standing now?
We are standing now in Anna's indoor studio. This was a working home for Anna and Archer, and she had two studios here. This is her indoor studio. It's the largest room in the house. Anna worked on larger-than-life statues, and that's what she was famous for, were her larger-than-life figures such as Abe Lincoln, Joan of Arc, and they were often on horseback. So she needed scaffolding in her studios. We don't know exactly how many pieces Anna worked on during the years that she was here because this was not their full-time home, but a couple of the pieces that she worked on we know are over at Workreen, including Don Quixote's horse. She also, through the doorway, had an outdoor studio where she would work when the weather was nice and it would give her better light. Anna was a very prolific artist and a very hard-working artist. During her lifetime, she produced over 500 pieces of sculpture, and that could be from very small pieces like a doorstop to these larger-than-life statues. It's interesting, though, she didn't start out to be a sculptor. She started out to be a musician, and she studied the violin for 7 years. And her family, when we've talked to them, has joked she wasn't very good. Anna actually followed her older sister, Harriet, to sculpting classes, and that became her passion. And again, she worked throughout her lifetime up into her early 90s. And this is despite having tuberculosis and dealing with tuberculosis for a couple of decades.
This looks like a bathroom.
It is. This was Archer Huntington's bathroom, and he was kind of a man ahead of his times. Of course, he had traveled in Europe, but there's an interesting thing about his shower. It's kind of hard to recognize now because some of the pieces are missing, but you'll see a shower head here, and if you count the nozzles, there were actually room for 7 shower heads. There were 3 on this side, 3 over here, and then a 7th one up there. And these were the faucets for turning the main water on and off. Archer was a tall man. He was 6'5". Anna was also tall herself. She was 5'9". But he built the bathroom to suit him. And it's pretty neat because people are now building new houses with 6 and 7 shower heads.